This is your real estate syndication show, and today we are taking a slightly different approach to the episode. I want to share a personal story that, just really shaped everything for my wife and I. Something that happened, and I'm going to ask you some hard questions, and I hope you're ready for that, especially as a man. And if you're a lady that's listening, I hope that you'll send this to your husband or to other men in your life. Men, let me ask you a hard question. Who gets your best? When the day winds down, when you're completely drained, you're running just on fumes, who gets what's left of you? I've been thinking about this a lot lately because, here's what has been happening to so many of us men. We're absolutely crushing it in the marketplace one way or another. We're closing deals, leading teams. We're working on building wealth, just making things happen, right? But when we walk through our door at home, what happens, right? Our wife gets the stressed out version of us, and our kids get the distracted version. Our family gets whatever energy is left after we've given our best to everyone else. And here's the thing that'll really keep you up at night if you really think about it. The people who matter most to you are getting the least of you. Too many of us are, winning at work, but are failing at home. I've seen this so much in my career as I've grown in this industry and as an entrepreneur and spoken on stages with so many who seem so famous, so well put together, but are failing at home. And personally, I've lived that story, right? And today I want to take you back to a moment that changed everything for me. And that was a quiet walk on the beach with my wife, Chelsea, that became the loudest wake-up call that I've possibly received. Because what I discovered that day, it wasn't just about time management or, that work-life balance that people talk about. It was about what true leadership actually looks like and where it has to start. At the time, I was living what looked like the American dream. I was a federal agent by day and a horse trainer by night. Many of you have heard that story. But literally, I'd finish my shift. I would race home, change clothes, load up the horses, and give lessons until midnight, or training horses until midnight. I would come home to a cold plate of dinner that Chelsea saved for me. I would crash, wake up, and do it just all over again. From the outside, it might have looked like success. We had a small farm, 2 full-time incomes. I was providing, right? I was just grinding and hustling and working as hard as I could possibly go. But inside our home, right, what was happening there? I didn't really know my sons. They were 2 and 3 years old, and honestly, I was a stranger to them. Chelsea and I were like ships passing in the night. When we did see each other, we were just completely exhausted and just managing logistics, just surviving. The story I told myself, though, was noble, and you may be doing the same thing. I'm doing this for them. I'm building something. I'm securing our future. But the fruit of my life told a different story. I was leading everywhere except where it mattered most. Then came that beach trip. We'd gotten away for a few days, out of the chaos, off the hamster wheel, and we found ourselves walking slowly along the shore and just praying together. And after Chelsea asked me a question that cut right through all my justifications, it was something as simple as, Whitney, is what we're doing right now going to get us where we want to go? And man, they hit me hard. It caused me to think, right? Because when I really look at our life, when I stopped and honestly evaluated it, our days looked nothing like the values, we said we believed. Faith, family, legacy, our time, our energy, our actual schedule, it was all bowing to something else entirely. So we made a decision quickly, and a drastic one. We decided to sell our farm. And let me tell you, walking away from that place was one of the hardest things we'd ever done. And I still remember the day we pulled out of that driveway for the last time. Chelsea and I Oh my goodness, just with tears streaming down our face because it didn't feel right. It hurt deeply. I mean, it felt like we were literally walking away from a dream. People who loved us were asking hard questions. Are you sure this is wise? What if it doesn't work out? And in our hearts, we were asking the same thing. Lord, is this really what you want for us? But we knew this was a now or never moment. If we didn't make this radical change, we'd stay stuck in this grind forever. I had to say burn the bridge, with the horse training business, and or I'd be tempted to say go back to that familiar, thing all the time. Right? People would be calling me, wanting me to work with their horses, and so I sold all of that. So I had no way to go back. I knew the life we wanted to build required sacrifice now for something greater later, right? Many of you have heard different analogies around that. Dave Ramsey is a big one that talks about that, but we had to do that. I wish we had done it so much earlier, but this became one of the most important lessons we could also teach our children. Hard decisions, made in faith often bear the richest fruit. In that moment, painful as it was, became the foundation for everything that followed. We realigned our priorities, and we chose a path that gave me the margin to actually be present with Chelsea and our boys. And it changed everything. Here's what I learned from that season, and what I wish someone had told me earlier. Your home is a proving ground for your leadership. In 1 Timothy, Paul says that if a man can't manage his own household well, he's not qualified to lead in other areas. Now, this isn't just about church leadership. This is a principle of kingdom living. God isn't impressed by your portfolio or your influence or your business success, if your family is starving for your presence. See, I thought, being a good husband meant being a good provider. I thought being a good father meant working hard so my boys would have opportunities. But what I discovered is that my wife didn't need another paycheck. She needed a partner. She needed me to lead spiritually, emotionally, and not just financially. And my sons, they didn't need more stuff. They needed their dad to know them, to be present for the small moments, not just show up for the big events. Ephesians 5 tells husbands to love their wives like Christ loved the church. And how did Christ love? Well, he gave himself up. He was present. He was sacrificial. Christ didn't love from a distance. He didn't delegate his responsibilities to others. He showed up. Here's what I realized, during that beach walk. I was trying to lead my family the way I led at work, delegating, managing from a distance, checking boxes. But that's not how you shepherd a heart. You can't manage your way into your wife's affections. You can't delegate your way into your, children's respect. You have to be present. You have to invest time, not just money. And here's the thing that really challenged me. My family would rather have less money and more of me. And I bet yours would too. Think about that for a moment. Your wife would trade the bigger house for more conversations with you. Your kids would give up the expensive activities to have you actually present at dinner. But we convince ourselves that working more is loving more, that grinding harder is serving better. The truth is, sometimes the most courageous thing we can do as men is to slow down, to say no to opportunities that would take us away from home, to protect our margins, so we can show up as husbands and fathers. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's not settling. That's leading. Because if we can't lead well in our living rooms, what makes us think we're qualified to lead anywhere else? So let me ask you some hard questions. And I want you to really sit, with these questions for a moment. Who gets the best energy each day? Your clients or your kids? When your wife tries to have a real conversation with you, are you fully present? Or are you half listening while you're, checking your phone? What story is your calendar actually telling about your priorities? Because it doesn't lie. Here's what I want you to do this week. Take an honest look at where your time and attention are really going. Not where you think they're going, but where they're actually going. Ask your wife this question: how can I love you better? And then, guess what? Just listen. Don't defend. Don't explain, but just listen. Ask your kids, what's your favorite thing we do together? You might be surprised by their answer or concerned by their silence, possibly. And here's the bigger question. If you keep living the way you're living right now, where will your family be in 5 years? Will your wife feel like, a cherished partner or a single mom with a roommate? Will your kids seek your advice when they're adults? Or will they barely know you? You don't have to live with that regret. That beach walk with Chelsea became a leap of faith for us. And now, years later, we've helped nearly 50 families bring children home through adoption. I work from home. I lead from home. I love from home. That one decision didn't just, change our income. It changed, our impact, for eternity. And it started with a simple commitment. No more leftovers for my family. Doesn't mean I do it perfect, but that is what I'm striving towards. Now, beyond just reflecting on where you are, let me give you some practical steps so, you can take, these this week and start leading better at home. First, protect 1 hour every evening. I don't care how busy you are, find 1 hour where work is completely off limits. No emails, no calls, no quick checks of your phone. You know what? That hour belongs to your family. I hope that you will do that. I hope you'll schedule it. Man, and so your entire team knows that's where you're at and you are unavailable. Second, schedule weekly one-on-one times with your wife. Put it on the calendar, just like you would put any other important meeting, because it is the most important meeting of your week. Even 30 minutes of undivided attention can just transform your marriage if you're not doing it. So third, create a simple bedtime routine with your kids. Just read to them, pray with them, ask them about their day. Some of the most important conversations happen when the world slows down and just guards come down. Fourth, start saying no to good opportunities that would steal time from your family. This is huge, guys. Like every yes to something else is a no to your home. Be ruthless about protecting what matters most. I mean, I've come to a couple points over the last, I would say 6 or 8 years, maybe 3 different times that I can remember where I have been so just almost angry about my calendar. And because I've let so many things come in, so many things take up my time, where I end up on Zoom or in meetings or traveling nonstop. I mean, like 5, 6, 7 days a week. And I just come in and I'm so angry. I finally tell my assistant, we're not doing this kind of meeting anymore. We're not doing that kind of meeting anymore. I've got to be at home at these times. I've got to stop doing that. And having that assistant has been so helpful to guard that time, right? To help me to really even push back at times to say, Whitney, is that what's best for your time right now? And help me to see, okay, as much as I want to help that person, as much as I want to talk to them, it's really not what is best at this time. And I have to say no. So be ruthless about your time. Remember, to put your family on your schedule, right? They are that important. Put them on there. And finally, lead spiritually. Pray with your wife. Read a Bible story to your kids. Don't wait until you feel qualified. Just start. Your family needs to see you seeking God and not just seeking success. These aren't complicated strategies, but they do require courage. And the courage to set boundaries, right? That nobody else is setting ultimately, or not many people. And just the courage to prioritize differently. The courage to lead at home the way you want to lead everywhere else. If this is hitting home for you, you're not alone and you're not stuck. And the same God who calls us to build wealth also calls us to build a legacy. And a legacy, that legacy starts, say, at the kitchen table, not at the conference table. If you want to dive deeper into what it means to pursue wealth, and when I say wealth, I mean true wealth, the kind that includes strong marriages, intentional fatherhood, and a life aligned with God's purposes, visit WhitneySewell.com. I hope you'll sign up there and you'll start to get more information just in this line of teaching around true wealth. I want that for you, the listener, for our investors, for our families that we support through the Omna Foundation. I just want that for every man, because I know really you desire to be intentional with your family and to care for them well. And I want to help you to lead there as well as you want to lead in your business. Let's be men who lead well where it matters most. Thank you so much for listening, and I'll see you the next time.